Hello ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, thank you for joining me on my channel, The UK Crafter. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a relaxing bath soak with some very simple ingredients. Let's see what we've got. The first thing, the key ingredient for our soak is salt. You can use sea salt, dead sea salt, Epsom salt, or becoming more and more popular these days is Himalayan pink salt. I'm just using some sea salt here. And with salt, you can typically get it in different grades, so the size of the grains can be from very small, which is a fine grade salt, right up to very large crystals, which is a coarse grade salt. This is a kind of in-between salt. It's typical for sea salt. You can get larger grains than this. Some of these, I'm not sure if this is picking up on the camera or not, but these grains are a fair size. You can get larger grains with dead sea salt. You can get, if you buy dead sea salt, particularly in the larger packets of up to 25 kilos, you can get some very big lumps of salt in there. Nothing wrong with those at all. They will break down easily in the bath, in the hot water. But normally on a soak you'll go for a coarse grain salt, so nice big crystals. We're going to make this soap with lavender. Now some people don't like lavender, they typically associate it with sort of an old-fashioned smell. And that can be true if you choose a more sort of synthetically made lavender oil. This one that I'm going to use is organic high altitude French lavender, and if you've never smelt this, I suggest you go out and try and find some somewhere, because it's not like any other lavender you will have smelt before. I mean, you can't smell this at the moment, unfortunately, but I used to make cosmetic products and sell them. My highest selling, my top selling product was a lavender bath soak, and a lot of the soaps that I sold were to people that actually said, "Oh, I don't like lavender at all." As soon as they smelt this stuff, they wanted to buy it. So it is a very good quality one. Lavender's great for a relaxing soak because it's aromatherapy wise, it does help relax your body. If you're tired, had a hard day at work, have a nice hot bath about an hour before you go to bed with some of this stuff, and it will give you a really good night's sleep. If you're looking for something to go the other way, something that's a bit of a pick-me-up, probably looking at more zingy citrus essential oils. If you've had a really hard day or you're participating in sports, you might want to choose something like peppermint and eucalyptus and lavender as well. Eucalyptus oil is really good for helping relax your muscles. And alongside a sea salt or a dead sea salt, you might want to make something that also includes Epsom salt. Epsom salts are really good for helping relax muscles as well. So if you're after something relaxing, just a sea salt and lavender is fine. If you want something to help relax tired muscles or aching muscles, throw in some eucalyptus oil and throw in some Epsom salt as well. Now, you can make a bath soak literally from those two ingredients. You can even just use salt on its own. It's good for your skin, it helps smooth your skin, the minerals in it help relax your muscles. It can also help with healing. So sometimes people who have had a baby are told to go and have a nice salty bath to help their body recuperate and relax and heal. If you're just using those two ingredients, what you will find though is that if you add your essential oil straight to your salt, within a couple of months your salt will have lost all the fragrance. There's the chemical compounds of the salt actually erode the fragrance of your essential oil quite quickly, so it can be a little bit disappointing if you've made a nice soak, either for yourself or to give it to a friend. A couple of months later they open the container and there's no smell, and they think, "Ooh, you've just given me a jar of salt." To combat that, a little trick is to take something like either a clay or tapioca starch. Sounds a bit funny, but if you go down to the supermarket or go online and buy some tapioca starch, use a sort of bowl full. All you'll need to do is add your essential oil to your clay or your tapioca starch first, mix it together well, and then mix your salt into that, or that into your salt, and the fragrance will actually stick to this like a binder, and it will take a lot longer for the salt to degrade the aroma of your essential oil. So instead of a couple of months, 6 to 12 months later, you should still be able to pick up a good fragrance in your salt. Probably won't last that long anyway, but just in case someone has it as a gift and they pop it in a cupboard, if you've done this the way I'll show you today, the fragrance for them should still be there. The final thing you can do, and this is again more so I guess if you're giving this as a gift rather than for yourself, is you can add things like rose petals, calendula flowers, heather to your salt, just to give it an extra kind of look. Otherwise you're just giving someone a container full of a white salt and they think, oh, what's that for? If you've thrown some flowers in there, it looks a little bit nicer. It also might help them remember that it's not to eat, so that's quite important. So let's put our salt soak together. We're just going to use a simple bowl and a spoon to mix our ingredients. So the first thing to do is to put our binder material into our bowl. So literally just tip it in and then take our essential oil and we're going to add that to our binder, and it literally is just dropping it in. Now I've got about, for this size container here, I've got about 450 grams of salt, and you're fairly safe with a bath product to go up to about 2% of your weight of product with essential oils. And in fact with lavender, that's one of about 2 essential oils that you can actually put directly onto your bare skin without it burning you. If you were using a strong citrus like an orange and you were to put the essential oil onto your skin, it can actually start to feel like it's burning your skin because it's very strong. Cosmetic wise, you're not supposed to go above 2% with an oil like this in a product that's going direct on your skin. So 2% of 450 grams would be it's about 450 millilitres actually in that. It'd be about 9 mils of oil. That's quite a lot. That will be quite a strong fragrance. I'm going to start with 1 ml, which is about 25 drops, and just see how it smells. If I need more, I can add to it. So let's add 25 drops to start. These can come out quite fast with some of these oils, so just be careful. So we'll start with about 25, and just give it a stir in. And it doesn't make your binder all wet and sticky, it just blends in fine. And just give it a bit of a sniff. It's fine, but I think actually with this one I'm going to add another 25. If you were using a stronger oil, if you're using a stronger citrus oil, you might find that you have to use less drops when you're adding them. And give that a stir. And the smell, and I might just pop a few more in there just to make sure that it's a nice fragrance. Just pops another 15 in there. Personal choice at the end of the day, depending on how strong you want to have it. Just make sure that you don't exceed that 2% of your total product with your essential oil. So we give that a good stir. Then when we're happy with the aroma, pop the lid back on. Now we just need to add our salt in there. So literally just pour this into this bowl. Stir these two together. So all you're doing is you're just spreading your essential oil all the way through the product. And if you give that a smell, now you can really smell the aroma of the essential oil coming through. In fact, it actually, to me, smells stronger than when it was just in the binder at the bottom. So another reason not to add too much at the start. Now I could add more to this now if I wanted to, but just be aware that you're also going to be adding it straight onto salt too. So it will lose some of its fragrance over the first couple of months of use. Although it's not that big, out of a container like this. You could put the whole lot in one bath if you wanted to. If it was me, I'd probably do 2 or 3 baths out of one of those without too much trouble, maybe more, but just depending on how much you want to put in. But I suspect it probably won't last you, or if you're giving it as a gift to someone, very long at all, so you probably don't need to worry too much about it losing its fragrance. Okay, so we could put that straight into the jar now. It is effectively done, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in some petals. I've got some heather petals here that look quite pretty. I'm just going to put some of those in. There's no real kind of formula as to how much you should put in. It's personal choice at the end of the day. So I'm going to tip in some. Oh, quite a few. Probably a few more than I wanted perhaps. And just give that a good stir through. And I think personally that's probably about enough. I could add some rose petals if I wanted to, or some calendula, but I'm just going to stick with the heather. Actually, I might throw a few more in. Why not? These things aren't expensive to buy, and what I'll do is I'll put in the description below a couple of links to places where you can buy things like salt, clays, essential oils. I'll put in some links as to where you can pick up these nice dried flowers, and I'll also put in some links as where you can get containers as well. This container that I'm using here, I love the shape of this for a bath soak. It's got a lovely wide neck, so it's really easy to pour. If you watched my other video on making a body scrub, you'll notice I used a larger necked but shallower jar. I bought that from the same place I bought this. I'll put a link below in the description to where you can pick those up if you want to. Give that a nice stir in. And then the only thing left to do then is to put our product into our jar. Now I could sit here and try and spoon this in, and in fact I have done that in the past, and half of it's ended up all over the place. So I'm going to use a nice handy funnel just to help me put my product in. Hopefully I won't make a big mess all over the floor. And it literally is just a case of pouring it in. Fill this up and I'll come back to you in a second when it's done. So I'll just put the last of this into the jar. Tap that and make sure it's all in. Pop the lid on. And then the best thing to do with something like this is just to give it a little shake and a little tap down just to settle all the ingredients. Particularly if when you're filling your container, you'll sometimes find that you'll get right to the top of it and you've still got a little bit to go in, and you know that it should all fit in there. It just needs a little tap just to settle all the ingredients down, and you'll find that you get a bit more room to put it all in. It smells fantastic actually. Pop the lid on. That's now ready to use either yourself, or you can give that as a gift to someone. If you're giving it as a gift, of course, you could wrap some ribbon around it, or even make a homemade label and stick that on there to tell them what's inside, get them excited about it. And it's as simple as that. As I say, I'll pop in the description below details about where to get ingredients, containers. I'll put this recipe in there, it's very simple. So if you want to make this exact one, you can. But a good thing to do, of course, is just to have experiment and have fun and make your own. I'll see you next time when we're going to make a really luxurious lip balm. Until then, take care.